guys, welcome to the Dom and Nate Show. I'm Dom,
I'm Nate.
and we have a special guest today, Jay Pratt. Please introduce yourself and let people know a little bit about you.
Hey guys, I'm Jay, and basically I probably been involved in the fitness industry for like 20 years as a competitor, promoter, trainer. Pretty much now what I'm doing, focusing more on is my personal training business. I have a training studio in downtown Detroit, but as well as I do a lot of tanning around the country with different people at the pro shows, the local shows, and stuff like that. Um, it's to me, it's not even a job. It's I love doing it, but we gotta kind of if we have to pinpoint anything, it's that the tanning for me is like an art. That's that's the best way I can put that. It's an art, so I don't see it as a job. Even though some days at the 17-hour mark, I may be reconsidering that statement.
Yeah, well, Nate gets tanned by you, and he loves it.
Yeah. I know the only time I didn't was that was the one critique I got was my color.
Well, you know what, guys like Nate and even the other guys that I deal with around the country, whether it be pro bodybuilders or amateurs or even the girls or whatever, um, it's it's a great compliment when people consistently ask for you if you're going to be in certain places. Like literally, I just talked to Seth Shaw. He's a pro bodybuilder, and he just hit me up if I was going to be down in Tampa, things like that. That stuff, it makes me feel good. And I'm not in this to, just about the money. I like for everybody to leave and say, hey, you did a really good job. Or if something happened, I want them to know that, why it happened. Because a lot of stuff that goes bad with tanning, I know a lot of people tend to do bad tans, but a lot of stuff is probably maybe half the time the competitor's fault, and I don't think that they get that. And I really try to guide them, so to speak, on what may or, what may have went wrong with their tan and why. You know, Nate's been tanned by me enough to know he knows that there's usually like a bar of soap in the shower or something like that because I deal with I'll be ready for an emergency, where other people won't. So I can kind of catch what's going on. And I pride myself on that. I don't care. And there's always, even with the girls, there's always, a female or two with me, because I'll tell the girl, you need to rinse everything off. This is not going to hold. You're gonna turn green. It's not going to last. And sometimes, they may be 20, 30 minutes from a hotel. So if they're, not close enough, they don't have time to do all of that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I remember when we were at North Americans and Nate was getting ready, you kept checking out his color constantly. But your attention to detail is really remarkable.
Well, the reason for that is for me, well, Nate, besides being a friend, he's a client, as well. But when when you're got your carb loading, you're doing certain things. You as a coach, Dom, that you give guys certain things. Sometimes it changes the pH in their skin, and they may be okay, one time, and the next time if they do something just a little bit different, they'll start to sweat a little bit more, and all of a sudden you could just start seeing the green, coming out. It happens.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, like with their skin pH and stuff. Like if you're using like a diuretic or something.
The diuretics, if you throw in something different, like for me, I can go back a couple years ago when I did the Tampa Pro. and I was really used to eating sweet potatoes to carb load with, and that's always been my thing for most of the time that I've competed. Well, that was the first time that I had ever did white rice, like as much as I did. My body did not, my tan, everything. I was just a mess. I mean, I was a mess.
That's
It changed everything. It really did. So yeah, it just depends on the person. It depends on the person, and if you're not checking up on that, and that's why a lot of the pros, especially the bodybuilders, that's why they like working with me, because I'll literally go up to them backstage, while we're backstage at the shows. I'll check on them. I'll make sure everything's right, because your color will make or break you. It can really it can cost you a place or two. Dallas McCarver, rest in peace. When he was at the Chicago Pro, his tan, I'm not sure what he used before, but he was sweating really, really bad. And it was like his color really wasn't doing him any favors. And he came up to me, he's like, "Can you fix my tan?" And, we did, and he looked great. But Marilyn she had just come out with a bar of soap. I don't remember the name of it, but he used that soap. He rinsed off, came back, and of course, he had one of my best tans like ever. He was nice and he was dark, and the people had told him, they were like, "You need to be a lot darker." Well, obviously he won the show, and things worked out great for him. But it's just those little bit of attention to detail.
yeah. So let's move to like personal training, because I know you do a lot of that at the studio. Where's the studio again? Like crossroad wise?
It's actually down. Really, I'm about 5 minutes from Wayne State University.
Oh, okay.
Right off of I-75 in Clay area at the Russell Industrial, which is a very well-known art building.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, they do there's a lot of artists there, as well as they do like concerts and stuff like that.
I've been to a few concerts there. It's really cool there.
Yeah, very, very. I mean, it's one of the, you really have to be a part of the community to get to place. But for me, I'm like an architecture guy, and it's an Albert Kahn design, and I love it. I love being there. I love the community. I love the business people there. So for me, it works.
Yeah, so you're looking forward to the gym's reopening.
Yeah, I really truly am. I'm glad that I wasn't in a position to where financially I had to really worry, as much as a lot of the other guys. But it's definitely, it hits you in the wallet when you have your own place, man. It really sucks that you got to keep paying, keep everything up and keeping things paid. For one, I was just talking to Brent, who owns CrossFit Unforgiven. He's a really good friend of mine, and I told him, I was like, you keep the bills paid and you keep everything going, but it kind of sucks when nothing's coming in. So
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I feel for a lot of these business owners and these small gyms and stuff, studios and whatnot.
Yeah.
But we got some good news today, so hopefully you guys will be open soon.
Yeah, I'm kind of optimistic in the next week or two that everything will be, up and running full speed again.
Yeah. Are you going to be tanning any shows soon? I know some are having shows.
You know what? This is what I was talking to Seth about a little bit ago. Basically, I'm waiting to see what the promoters can do and can't do, because everything's so up in the air right now, so I'm just waiting for a response. And what I'm starting to get is a lot of double bookings. the Tampa Pro, the New York Pro is on the same day. It's just like, what, we don't really know which direction to go, where I'm going to be at. I have no clue. So it's just like, I guess when we get the first set of shows, I believe there's a show this weekend in Oklahoma. And I think once it happens, that everything will kind of just go ahead and be like, okay, we can, kind of see how things are going to start being laid out. But I mean, really, until people literally get back on that stage, I mean,
Right.
we have, we don't know. It's just Remy, I believe, Bring. I think it's a toss-up now, but where the Michigan is going to be between Ohio and Toledo, which I mean, it has to have him tearing his hair out. That you don't know where you're going to be. So, like I said, for tanning, for even personal training people, I don't, because I got two people that want to get into the Michigan. If it's local, but I told them you may have to go to Ohio, so it kind of changes things up for them. So it's different when you're 15 minutes away versus
Yeah,
going an hour and a half. So we'll see.
definitely can change your preparation. That's for sure.
Yeah, it sure can.
Yeah, because it's unfortunate that stuff like this happened. We had so many competitors doing shows this year, and like just so many people were just like, you know what, I'm done. Like mentally checked out.
Yeah.
Half of them were only able to do body weight workouts at home, while the other half had minimal equipment. So it's definitely sad to see, but I feel like it kind of helped people grow a little bit too, just mentally, and like what they can actually achieve still at home. Like
Exactly.
I feel like staying on course for a little bit during the quarantine probably did some people a lot of benefit, if anything. Like
Yeah.
not letting them just spiral completely down.
Well, what I told my clients, and I believe I've actually seen you and Nate post about it a couple times, is that focus on what you can do, which is that make sure your water's on point, make sure that your food is on point, and if you are not up against the eight ball, I mean, there's something that you can do, exercise wise. Like, you're not gonna lose your physique. You're not going to shrivel up and shrivel away. It's like, concentrate on what you can. It's just like, don't kind of cower in a corner. And there's 3 to 4 ladies that I'm training that'll probably be coming out in the next 4 to 5 weeks. They're ready to go. I mean, I hope that I can get them in the gym for the last month. That would, be great. But, it, you have to focus on like we always say, the nutrition is the biggest aspect of it. So you've had all the time in the world to sit at home and eat your meals and concentrate on your water and stuff like that. And I mean, it helps. It helps a lot. So I guess it's, like you said, it just depends on how you look at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like with nutrition, like I always told people, like this is like, you have like no distractions, no excuses right now. Like there's nothing to distract you from cheating or
Exactly.
doing any of that. Like you're in your house, so you can cook and eat your food. You can cook and eat your food fresh every day at this point. You don't even have to meal prep it.
Yeah. No coolers, no cold fish, no cold chicken. Just it's. I feel like you said is, for me, I literally only had one person that had to say, I can't go on, and that was from a financial aspect, for her, because they were starting to, hurt a little bit, and which was understanding, and I told her, just, maintain the best you can, and when you can, come on back, and it was kind of hard to get food, I guess, in the area that she was in, because she was a little farther out, and I think like the chicken and stuff like that where she was at, she was saying that it was very hard to get like very decent protein.
Yeah, that's crazy. No,
Yeah,
the people that I had that ended up pulling out, more so there was a lot of mental stuff going, like mentally things weren't like right there, and I could tell like from their effort level that it wasn't there. So like you can't just force them to go do something. I told them make a better decision, be happy about what you're doing, and then you'll feel a lot better once you decommit to something that you don't want to do. You'll feel like a weight is off your shoulder. And now they all feel really good, and they're all just now they're getting back into things, and we'll compete later in the year. It's fine. Like it's not a big deal. I told them all. I said shows are always going to be here.
Exactly. And that's the best thing you can do is from a coaching standpoint is just tell people, hey, you know, the shows are going to be here. Let's not rush. Let's not put the pressure on you. If you're feeling that, you know, this is too much, then I kind of leave it up to them, you know, and I do that a lot is, you know, do you feel like, if you feel like it's too much, just let me know. Because you never know what someone has going on with the job. You don't know if, you know, them and their mate are kind of been locked up for too long, and you know, on the, you know, the quarantine is just like, you know, maybe mentally it's just not meant to be at this time. And I feel that for these shows, if you were able to get the nutrition and get the water, like I said, and I think maybe some people got the best sleep that they've ever gotten. I've noticed that, you know, a lot of my clients are telling me that they were literally getting the 8 to 9 hours a day. They were getting, you know, a lot of naps and stuff like that. And I see a lot of them, the normal cortisol problems that I have, they weren't there. So that was great to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. People are sleeping a lot more.
Oh yeah.
Yep. The muscles look totally different. The puffiness, it wasn't there. They were relaxed, you know, versus you have those same people are drinking, pounding a lot of coffee, you know, only sleeping, you know, 5 to 6 hours a day, you know, things like that. And it's just like, you know, I can really tell, you know, a difference.
Yeah, because they're like constantly overstimulating. They're constantly running on fumes.
Yep.
And now they're just like nice, relaxed, refreshed every day. They could sleep and stuff.
Yeah, and depending on what kind of job that they had, depending on what kind of job they have, they're on their feet 10, 12 hours a day. That could be, you know, part of the, you know, like I said, a benefit too. They, you know, they're resting. You know, you don't need, you know, as much, you know, stress in your life. You don't have as much stress in your life, as I should say, is that you can kind of relax and just focus 100% on what you're doing. I told them, just like, I know you're getting your Netflix and stuff in, but always make sure that you're doing something to, you know, to be moving closer towards your goal, whatever it is that you can do, whatever's in your power. And that was one of the things that I pushed is like posing. Make sure you're posing. You know, don't wait until the end. You know, it's like, don't, you know, try to do all of this cardio. It's like, make sure you're doing your posing, know where your body's at, you know. And it's like I said, it worked out well. I think for a lot of my clients, they work from home, which was kind of great because they weren't under all of that financial pressure. So that, I guess that was a good benefit for me.
So they already worked from home.
Yeah, they work from home, but their schedules were so modified that, you know that you can do stuff when you're at home that and you're working. It's not like when you're at work. So they, you know, a lot of them really benefited from that. I have 2-3 teachers, you know, of course they're not teaching a class and they don't have the kids on them all day. They're not breaking up fights. They're not, you know, doing all the craziness that goes with being a teacher, rather than sitting on your laptop and you're in a Zoom session and, you know, you're trying to make sure that they're getting, you know, everything that they need. And some of those teachers they said that they were only doing maybe 4 hours a day, you know, plus, you know, their meeting. I mean, that's a lot different than, you know, most of them loading up, driving to work and having a 10-hour day.
Yeah, my day's a little different, unfortunately. No, I'm just because I have to go into work in order to use my shop for my kids. So
I got you.
it's been very challenging. And then
Okay.
the amount of work that the district has actually put on us as
Oh
CTE
yeah.
has been stupid.
Yeah.
Just they're trying to get us ready for next year in the event of, and it's like can't predict it. Why should we start the process now?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I feel like they have to come up with something because they feel like they have to try for the kids. I feel bad for any of these kids that graduated at this time and this point. The proms, the graduations, all the things that went into your senior year. My heart bleeds for these guys. It's like because they've missed so much, and I think that rather than it, not to say that this would come around again, I think it's taught us a lesson that if something like this does happen again, there needs to be something in place, and we don't need to figure it out as it
As
comes up.
you go.
Yeah.
We obviously, as a society, we need to be better prepared for things like this. And not to say that it'll be the whole country, just maybe it's Metro Detroit. When I first moved here, I think that they lost power here for like a week. Which was the weirdest thing. I'm like, how is the entire grid, like
Yep.
everything was out? So those are the type of things. I mean, things can't happen. So I think that's what they're trying to do. And like I said, I always applaud like the education and the law enforcement. I there's It's like they can never ever do enough, you know, in their sectors to be prepared. It's like because there's always going to be a learning curve. Something's going to be thrown at them. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I feel bad for a lot of seniors. Like how much that means to some of them is like how much prom means to a senior girl. Like, and
yeah,
now she's not even gonna have it, or like their graduation parties. All those things mean a lot to these kids. Hopefully, some of them will have some now because she raised the limit on outdoor
250.
gatherings to 250.
50, yeah.
So I don't know. It is sad because like what was it? Two of my cousins just graduated high school and they couldn't even do anything. We
Yeah.
drove by their house telling them congratulations.
I got
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
what they did is they all got their diplomas at a set time, and I probably had 4 students text me and say, "Hey, can you come up here and take a picture with me?" So obviously, fortunately, I don't live very far, but
Right.
here I come. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I, this country, man, I think that in the last 3 months we've learned so much about ourselves. Not only from a probably a physical aspect, but a mental aspect, which I believe is a very big part of health and fitness. I think that mental wise, that we've had to learn how to take better care of ourselves. Um, it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with the things that's going on. And I know everybody, they talk about the gym, but you have to be prepared to deal with these things outside of, if you can't get to the gym, if you can't do things like that, it's very, very unfortunate, like what's happened here these last few months.
Yeah, I mean we've learned so much since it's only been 6 months, and the years we're experiencing all the things we're experiencing right now.
yeah,
Yeah,
I will say one thing though, these past 6 months, I, personally myself, I've probably learned more than I ever have.
yeah,
I've learned so much about, the way things happen, just even studying more for health reasons for during the pandemic. And then now looking more into like civil rights and things with everything going on.
hmm,
Like it's helped me develop a lot more as a person and just not change my outlook on things, but better it and just open my eyes a
exactly.
lot more, which I'm grateful for. But like, there's people that looked at these 6 months and didn't take the opportunity to learn. and that's unfortunate that that happened. But you can't force it upon anybody to do that. They have to make their own decision and
Right.
reach out to grab that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's
With
a
the
lot of
with the with the opportunities that, of time that was there, just for myself, being the kind of militant person that I am, I read a couple books, I got a couple more certifications. I mean, that's just who I am. But you also have to look at, where you're at in society, with, of course, the latest things that's come up with civil rights. You have to see where you are, and and where you are in life as far as a person. I think in your heart and in your head, it's like, what am I doing to be more productive in society? I guess that's the best way to say it. What, not, because I don't want to say, oh, it's just a civil rights thing. It's just this. I think that with this, in the last week, that we've all had to learn that how can I be a more productive member of society? How can I open my eyes, and not only to be a little bit better for not only for my race but for the human race as well? It's like how can we move forward together? There's certain things that I don't understand, and I don't get. When John A. Croc came on and said the things that she said about the transgender community and stuff like that. You know, I try to look at everything and everyone's situation and be empathetic, to what's going on with them. It's just like, and until we do that, you don't have to understand it, but you have to understand that people should have certain certain rights, if that
Yeah.
that means anything.
I think you put that in a really good way. I think you have to be able to understand the topic before you can even talk about the topic,
Okay.
because people jump into conclusions without being fully informed. They're only informed to the degree that they're willing to look at. They don't get the whole picture and then say something. They get the piece of the picture they want to look at and
Right.
then say something. They need to look at the entire thing, which I think is why I can't believe that there's even an issue with what is going on right now. Like,
Well, when you have people they're in their own little sectors and they have tunnel vision. And unless you interact like with people every day, a wide variety of people every day, you're gonna have blinders on. And
yeah,
there's some people just like that. I have a guy, I won't say his name, but you know 7 years ago, I believe, yeah, it was 7 years ago, he like inboxed me on Facebook, and he made mention to something that happened between me and him in high school. And there was I had moved to an area that the school was pretty much all white, and he was one of these individuals that he kind of, like, for the first week or two, he kind of made me feel a certain way, said some things. Anyway, um, he inboxed me, and this guy apologized. I hadn't spoken to him for or anybody for years, and he apologized like out of no. He came at me in such a way. It was a very heartwarming thing. He explained to me. He goes, the way that I grew up, I thought these kind of things were okay, and they're not okay. He apologized. He says, I am raising my son totally different. He goes, I am so glad that I saw your picture come up on Facebook. He's like, I've been wanting to apologize to you for 15 years. And
wow.
it was the most amazing thing to me. I haven't spoken to him since, but he had it on his heart to apologize, and he let me know this is because of the way that I was brought up. This is not who I am now. I am raising my son to see things totally different. And that's all you can do, man, is try to correct, some of the things. I'm not saying that everybody has to, do this and overstep. And, like some of the people that were asking me, I'm like, you don't have to do all of this magical stuff. It's just like, just speak up and say it's wrong. Just say things are wrong. And that would be the same if something happened in the gay community. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Say something. Don't just sit there and watch. If something happened with God forbid, Nate's daughter or I would say it was wrong. I'm going to. That's the way that life should work, and the way that we as a society should work is that when we see things are not right, we should step up.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would rather film stuff than actually say something.
No, you're completely right about that. I think somebody had posted something just about like self-educating, like older people that grew up a different way, and like us as younger individuals. Like I'm only 25, and I could see the way like maybe someone older grew up. Like it's my duty to educate them.
Yeah.
Because I understand better, and if I don't speak up and try to change it, look, at the end of the day, I might change their mind, I might not, but I have to try to change their mind.
Right.
And that's the way I looked at it. This with all this stuff going on, that like I have to attempt to make the change that I want to see. If I failed, I failed. If I succeeded, I succeeded. But I can say I tried.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's all it comes down to, because you can't sit back and you can't condemn a race of people for a few things that happen, just like you can't condemn police officers for a few bad apples. It's like you're gonna get that in everything you do. You're gonna get, just a few bad apples here or there. And the police officers that I know, which is a whole lot, they're outstanding individuals. They really are. And I mean, they live to protect their community. They live to do the right thing. So, I can't sit back and say, hey, all, police officers are this, and all white people are that, and this and that. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's like the people that you do see doing something wrong, you should step up. And I think that this is a turn that we've made, is people like you and a lot of the other younger people, they live by a different creed, the various races, and they're speaking up and they're saying something. So this is why we have what we have, and we have so many voices, is because they're vocal about it. They're saying something. The older people that have been set in their ways and may not have changed, then they're saying the wrong thing, some of them. So you kind of got to be willing to balance everything out and just do your part and do what you can. I don't feel like I'm going to be held accountable for everyone, but the people that I can reach, I'm going to try to help. The people that I cannot reach, I'm just going to keep it moving. I'm not going to sit back and argue with you all day on your belief system and what you feel like you need to do. That's your journey. You go ahead and you walk that. So,
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
No, that's a really good point. Like one thing I talked to people about, like around me, was like, of course I would support all this and with them and Black Lives Matter movements and protests and things like that, because what was it, maybe 3 years ago, there was a big movement for Chaldeans in Iraq that were getting murdered. Our African American community here, and all different race communities came and supported us when we had our protests and we had our so it's that vision of one race is out there, and it just needs to come out a little bit more. Yeah
That is exactly right. And the more that we see that, and the more that we move towards that, and it's great. And I tell people, you could be proud of your race, but we all need to be able to function as one as well. It's just like, because I can sit down with Nate, and I don't know how much sushi we've buried, sit down the same way that I could sit down with one of my cousins or someone else, it's just like, and there's no difference for me. I'm not uncomfortable. I feel great. It's like if people treat you right, then we're human beings. We should be able to interact and conduct ourselves, accordingly.
Yeah. How much sushi you eat, Nate?
Well, once again,
Well, Nate pushes. I think it's a competition. There's a lot of roles. I think they're happy to see the bill at the end. So yeah.
hmm I think I think we've all been firsthand on the amount of food I can consume.
Yeah, what was that place we went to when we were in Grand Rapids?
Yeah, we were in Grand. That was a Japanese steakhouse.
Yeah, we went to a Japanese steakhouse. I don't know how many rolls. I think that was the longest 2-hour ride home like ever.
So full.
Oh my God, I was comatose, and I blamed Nate the entire way up. It was so much food at that table. It was ridiculous.
We went to when we were in Pittsburgh for North Americans. We went to some Brazilian steakhouse, and this guy, like, they tell you like green for more food, red for no food. His thing was on green. We were there for an hour and a half. The guy didn't stop eating, and then we left. He ate a milkshake at some ice cream shop. Then we walking down the street of Pittsburgh. He goes, "Oh, I want a pizza." Stops and buys the largest pizza. Sends me a picture. He ate the whole thing in his hotel room.
Are you serious? Oh my! That's Texas, Brazil. That's the steakhouse.
Yeah.
There. I believe. Didn't we eat there as well?
I don't remember. I don't think we did it. I'm trying to remember. It was a red logo. It was right out the main road.
Yeah. It's
Fogo de Chao was the red logo.
Might have been.
Yeah.
That place was awesome.
It was a sight to see. My stomach hurt watching him.
It's all good. I like food.
Hey, if we get back up there for North Americans and Masters, I have to get you guys to hang out. There's a place called Insomnia Cookies.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so you have to pre-make those. They come to you hot.
Right.
Oh man,
I'm open.
that sounds so good.
Hey, Dominic, you have to order these cookies like a pizza. You can't just walk in and get the cookies. You have to order them. They make them fresh, and they will deliver them to your hotel room. And they're piping hot. They're awesome. Yeah, it's amazing. So
I'll be in Pittsburgh for North Americans. I have 5 people doing it.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I'll see you, and I'll make sure that you get it.
Yeah. That sounds so good.
Yeah, it's great, man. It is the greatest place. That cookie place, and there's a deli that has the best sandwiches like in the world, man. It's amazing.
Have you eaten at that original Primanti's Brothers over there?
That is exactly the place that I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
We went.
Yep.
I didn't eat, but I know we went for North Americans. I just sat and watched everybody.
We need to eat.
I didn't compete yet.
Oh.
I wasn't on the plan.
There's actually 2 of them. The one that's actually in the industrial part is a lot better. There's 2. There's one off the main drag where all the hotels are, and then the other one inside the industrial area. That one is amazing.
Okay.
It's amazing. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping to make it out there. I mean, I'm sure I can get on a plane and do all that in September.
Yeah.
You just have to take it as it comes, man. I think these shows are going to be so squeezed together, and I know once everything does start, it's probably going to be hectic for coaches and tanners as well as of course the promoters. So, I've promoted for 10 years. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes right now.
Yeah.
I think those guys, my hats go off to, like Remy, John Simmons, Linda, the Wings of Strength, and all of those guys promoting stuff, because I cannot imagine the level of stress that they're under right now, trying to make sure that these things go off, and then not even knowing if you're going to be able to get reimbursement from it, because you don't know if you can even have, an audience, which is, how you kind of get some, a majority of your funds back. So
Yeah,
Right.
it's
I
crazy.
just wouldn't want to be in their shoes.
Yeah. So let people know like where they can find you, how they can get a hold of you. I'll put your website in the YouTube video as well.
Yeah, you can go get to me at onefitjoker@gmail. You can also onefitjoker.com, ONEFITJOKER.com. You can reach me there. We also do hair and makeup as well. I have 3 makeup artists as well as 3 girls that do hair as well. They usually stay local. I don't take them on the road with me because usually there's other girls on the road that I know that I can kind of, use or move to for that. As well as One Fit Joker Tanning on Facebook as well.
Okay. And then the studio is right in downtown Detroit.
Yep, it's Alter Ego Fitness, and it's at 1600 Clay Street. Just give me a call or email me for an appointment. We also do everyday fans there. So, if you're getting ready for a photo shoot, stuff like that, there's one of the girls, Christy, Don, or any of those ladies will be more than happy to come in there and take care of you to get your tanning done. Because I don't do the everyday tans during the week because I'm usually slammed with clients from like the time that I open to the time I close.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and joining us, man.
Man, it was my pleasure. I really enjoy what you guys do. The feedback that you give on social media, and guiding people. I mean, you guys are doing an amazing job. You and Nate both. I commend you both, because unlike other people, I like to see the guys coming up behind me. I admire when they have knowledge and they're doing the right thing, rather than people just jumping out and saying I'm a coach and I'm taking on clients. It's it's kind of great to see guys that are doing the legwork, and I know that I'm not going to be here pretty much longer, a few more years, whatever. But it's great to see that guys are coming up and they're doing the right thing, man, and they're getting knowledge. That to me is the biggest part, and that's what's going to make this industry go a lot further than where it needs. Somebody has to have knowledge. Everybody can't compete in one show and say I'm a coach. So I like to see guys like you guys coming along and doing the right thing.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Definitely.
Welcome.
All right, brother. Well, you stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes.
Okay, man. Take care of yourself.
Take care, man.
See ya.
All right.